Okay, today we are going to look at triangles and classifying and finding some angles and side lengths. So we'll start just with a triangle and what it is. It's a figure formed by three line segments that intersect only at their endpoints. So a figure of our triangle would look just something like this. The thing that you really need to remember is that the sum of the angles is 180 degrees. You're going to need that when we start finding our angle measurements. So triangles can be classified two different ways. So one way that they can be classified is by their angles. So when we look at this, an acute angle or an acute triangle is one. So acute is one of the possibilities for our classification when we have all angles have a measure of less than 90 degrees. Then we could have an obtuse angle, and this is where one angle is obtuse. To have an obtuse angle means that it is more or greater than 90 degrees. And our last classification is a right triangle, and that is where one angle is a right angle. And remember, a right angle means that it equals 90 degrees when we look at it. So like this one right here, generally they have a little right angle, a little square thing right there to represent our 90 degrees. The other thing we can do is classify by our sides. So when we classify by sides, we have one possibility is congruent. We're not actually going to classify it congruent, but what it means that the sides have the same length. Okay, so if all the sides are the same, that means that they are congruent sides. So when we classify, one option is scalene. That means no sides are congruent. That means all the sides have a different measurement. An isosceles means two sides are congruent, so two sides have equal measurement. And then we have an equilateral, and that means all sides are congruent. So when it says to classify by sides, you have to do one of these three options. Congruent just means they have the same length. That's not how you classify a triangle. So you will be asked to do some classifying today. Another thing that you'll be asked to do is to find the values of x in a triangle, along with classifying it as acute, right, or obtuse, which would be by our angles. So for example, if we were given a triangle here, and I know one angle is 48 degrees, the other two are 3x and 3x. So if you remember back, I said all angles, all three of these have to add to be 180. So we're just going to add those up. We're going to take 48 plus 3x plus 3x, and those have to equal 180, and then we'll solve this for x. So this would be 48 plus 6x equals 180. Subtract the 48. So 6x equals 132. Divide by 6. So our x is going to be 22 degrees. And then, so if we solve for x, there's our x. And the other thing it wants is to have an acute, or what angle it is, acute, right, or obtuse. Well, 48 is less than 90. If I took 3 times 22 right here, that means this one's 66 and this one's 66. So that means that this would be an acute triangle because all our angles. So you'll be asked to find the x, and you'll be asked to classify it. If we look at another example here, let me erase what I just did. Oops, discard. I don't know what happened right there. Sorry about that. Not sure what just went on. We will just start right here with our triangles again. Okay, sorry, not sure what happened on my video on there. So here we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take all three of our sides and add them together. So we're going to do 3x plus 6 plus 2x plus 24 has to equal 180. So combine like terms, I have 5x, and then 6 and 24 would be plus 30 equals 180. Subtract the 30. I'm going to move over here. So 5x equals 150. Divide by 5, and x equals 30. So you'll be asked to find x like that. Then you'll need to plug them back in to see what happens. So if I plug this in, that means that this angle is 60. This one's 24, and so then this one up here would be 3 times our 30, which would be 90, so this one would be 96. One angle's bigger than 90, so this one is an obtuse. So you'll be asked to find your x and then also to classify it. Okay, so that's finding our angles. Another thing you'll be asked to do is find the unknown side lengths giving the perimeter, and then classify by the side lengths. So that would be our scalene, isosceles, and equilateral. So if we look at this one, or an example, we're given our perimeter is 75. That means if I add up all three of these sides, it has to equal 75. So we're going to have 15 plus 25 plus x equals 75. We want to solve this for x. So this would give us 40 plus x equals 75. So our x is 35. You need to make sure you label it. It's feet, so you would need to label this feet. So our x is 35 feet, and then if we are to classify it, we have one that's 15, 25, and 35. They're all different. So this is a scalene when all sides are different. Okay, here's another one. Again, our perimeter is 21.6 meters. This time, these little lines means that all of the sides are the same. So all three are going to have the same side. So if we were just to say like these are all sides x, that means that I have 3x has to equal 21.6. Divide by 3. So our x is 7.2. And in this case, again, label meters. If you don't label it, we'll count it wrong when you put them in there. And since all three of these sides are equal, if you go back to our classification, that means that this is an equilateral triangle when all of them are the same. So find your x and classify. So then we just have a few more that are written out kind of the same, but they're word problems. So here it says the measures of the angles of a triangle are 2, 4, 9. What is the measure of each angle? Remember, angles have to add to 180. So what you're going to do is just add x's to this. This is going to be, you have a 2x plus 4x plus 9x has to equal 180. So if we add all those up, that's 15x equals 180. So our x is 12. But it wants the measure of each angle. So to get the measure of each angle, you're going to take this 12 and you're going to plug it in or multiply it by each one of these. So your angles, you're going to have one that's 2 times 12, so you'll have one that's 24 degrees. You're going to have one that's 4 times 12 is 48 degrees. And then, whoops, my little degrees. And then you'll have one that is 9 times 12, which is 108 degrees. When you put these into your homework today, you're not going to label them with a degree sign because you can't type that in. You're just going to do something, put them in the order 24, 48, 108. You're just going to list them with a comma between them when you type them into your homework on Canvas. So another one here is a perimeter. So we have the perimeter of an isosceles triangle is 14 meters. Remember, isosceles means two sides are the same. The length of one side is 4 meters. The lengths of the other two sides are equal. That's what our isosceles means. We want to find the lengths of these two sides, so they have to be the same. So we know one side is 4. We know the other two sides are the same, so we'll just say they're x, and it has to equal our perimeter of 14. So this would be 4 plus 2x equals 14. Subtract the 4. 2x equals 10. So our x would equal 5. There's just one thing here, so if we were to label this, we would do 5 meters. You could also just say 5m. Either one will be correct when you type them in. So next, another perimeter one. The perimeter of an equilateral triangle is 212 feet. Find the length of each side. So equilateral means they're all the same. So that means if you were to draw a triangle on here, each side would be like an x value, but they're the same. So this would be 3x equals 212. Divide by 3. So our x equals 70, and we'll just go to the nearest tenth, 70.7, and then label it again. So you could do feet like this, or 70.7, and you could write out the word feet. Either one of those would be counted as correct when you type them in today. And last one right here is the ratio of the side lengths of a triangle is 724.25. We know the perimeter is 392. Find the side lengths and classify by its side lengths. So we're doing two different things right here. So this is our ratio again. You're just going to have 7x plus 24x plus 25x equals our perimeter of 392. So this, if we add them all up, would give us 56x equals 392. So our x equals 7. we want to find each side length. So again, since we know what our x is, to find our side lengths, you're going to have 7 times 7, which is 49. You'll have 7 times 24, which is 168. And you will have 7 times 25, which is 175. Make sure you're labeling it. In this case, it's inches. So these all need to be labeled inches. Okay, so there's our answer. And then it wants us to classify by our side lengths. All our sides are different, so this is a scalene triangle. Sometimes it might just ask you for the longest side, so just make sure you're paying attention to what it's asking you for. So if you have questions while you're working, let me know.